Well, it's Saturday the 5th of October and there's 3 holes in the ground. Mercury has entered Scorpio and Mars into Libra since we last spoke. Mercury, as expression and communication, will be hanging around in Scorpio for a long while this year with its retrograde, and it wants to talk about horrors. This is episode 1927 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded and edited in 1 hour by me at the JMO. A day late making this, as yesterday was a really intense work day. I was trying to dot the I's and cross the T's on my talk, Solarpunk, Life in the Future Beyond the Rusted Chrome of Yestermorrow, that I'm giving at Unsound Festival in Poland next week. I'm also giving a panel on interspecies solidarity alongside Luke Turner, author and co-founder of The Quietus, and the artist, cultural geographer and filmmaker Amy Cutler, and I'm really looking forward to it. I must admit though, the Solarpunk talk has been a struggle to pull together, mainly because it's 50 minutes in length, which is a really different beast from pulling together a 20-minute long talk of the kind that I've gotten used to giving in the last year or so as part of my accidental slide into the public speaking circuit. Once I finish this show, I'll be diving back into Google Slides and hope to have everything finished by early afternoon so I don't need to think about it anymore. This morning, I must admit, is one of those days where I'm really not into the idea of sitting down and making a podcast. I'm really not feeling it. Writing, recording, and editing a podcast in 1 hour is an intense burst of energy and creativity that I really do enjoy doing. As the podcast has progressed, however, the most well-received shows seem to be the essay ones. They are also some of the episodes I most enjoy making. To sit down and just get an idea out of my head, record it, and post it is really satisfying. But what I've observed about myself, though, is that for me, it's not possible to do that every week. It's not that I don't have opinions about stuff, because believe me, I have plenty of them. I could easily sit down and fill your ear holes with a 5-minute long rant about what's been going on in the world, why it's ridiculous, and why it makes me furious. But to be honest, that's not the sort of show that I want to make, nor is it how I want to spend my time. Using up psychic and physical energy getting mad about things on the internet is exactly the sort of thing that I find distasteful when I see it or hear it in other people. I can only imagine what kind of toxic spiral that would cause my mental health to fall into, ranting and raving every week. I could easily turn myself into some kind of conspiro-mystical Alex Jones of the left. As I'm making this show, I actually remember that one of the episodes that I'm least pleased with that I've made over the last 50 whatever episodes was November last year, about removing excess salt. It was a long extended metaphor about how you need to desalt gammon before you cook it, boomers and Brexit. And since then I've been trying hard not to make another show like it, trying to avoid how that show made me feel rather than its content. It's one of the reasons I stopped making the show last year, partly because I was busy with stuff throughout December, but also because I didn't want to continue making it if they were all going to turn out like that. There are plenty of other things in the back of my mind that I have a vague idea that I'd like to make a show about. I've read in excess of 60 Warhammer 40,000 books from Games Workshop this year, and haven't had anyone to talk to. Except at a barbecue this summer where I saw a bunch of old school friends who raised their eyebrows in surprise at the fact that the Primarch and genetically engineered demigod of the Ultramarines, Rebute Guilliman, is out of stasis after 10,000 years and back in the Grimdark kicking ass. I've also wanted to make a show about Dune since the early days, mainly as a troll episode where I make my usual claim that almost all sci-fi and fantasy in the latter half of the 20th century is derivative of 2 books, Dune and Lord of the Rings. Don't even get me started about that Stark boy at the end of Game of Thrones being the Kwisatz Haderach. As regular listeners will know, I'm also not that into movies, so I'm not excited for the new Dune either. But I am looking forward to rolling my eyes at whatever kind of fandom wars are going to happen when they come out. Also, when I'm making this show, in the script phase, I sometimes massively overwrite a subject or start something and then go back to the beginning and start again on a different subject. At the moment, at the bottom of the document where I write all my scripts, there's 3 off-cut episodes about 400 words each, about 1/3 of a show. One of them is the written word and the atemporality of social media, one on spiritualism and the left, and an overwrite from last week about creating sacred time and sacred space. There's a couple of books I'd like to review and recommend. Off the top of my head, there's The Brazen Vessel by Scarlet Imprint, Paul, an autobiography by Bible scholar N.T. Wright, and The Hearing Trumpet by Leonora Carrington, amongst others. I haven't made them yet, as they just haven't turned into a show. We'll see if any of those make the light of day. One of the important things that I've come to understand about making this show is that it benefits from consistent production. I'm learning every week and still overcoming deep-seated insecurities. I think I've got the hang of this podcasting thing and consider it an asset or a skill that I've developed over time. Making it every week benefits me the most, and that's why I started it and continue to make it. I'm extremely grateful and sometimes humbled by everyone who is listening or has written about it or shared it. As the person who's making this weekly show, I hope that you, the audience, don't mind what I talk about from week to week and are just along for the ride.